What's going on, guys? The time has finally come for a little tutorial video on how I color grade my videos in DaVinci Resolve. I did a little poll on my Instagram a while back and people seemed to be super interested in how I color grade my videos. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. I'm going to go over my node structure and then just a start to finish guide on how I grade my videos, some tips and tricks I like to use to get me really good results. I'm no media expert. I've been doing this for about a year. I do all the media and marketing for Shine Supply, and I'm just self-taught, watched a lot of YouTube videos, and kind of just taught myself how to do this stuff. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I do it and how I'm able to get pretty solid grades on my videos. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So first things first, we'll open up DaVinci Resolve. I actually have been using DaVinci for probably 3-4 months now. I swapped over from Premiere Pro, and I have had an amazing experience with it and feel I just get a lot better results a lot more efficiently. So if you are using Premiere on the fence of making the transition, highly recommend it. So this video is actually shot 2 weeks ago. I made it for our marine product line launch. I was super stoked with the outcome, and the grade on it is probably one of my favorites. So I figured it would be a perfect video to use for the tutorial. I'll put it back to horizontal just so it's a little bigger. So this is the finished result. Pretty awesome. This was shot in S-Log3 on my Sony ZV-E1 and then the Sony A7 IV, which is currently filming me. I've always shot in S-Log, that's what I've learned on. Get the best results on it, so we've just ran with it. But I've got this one pulled over, ungraded, as you can see. So we'll jump right into it. The first thing that we'll break down is the node structure. Very, very important. When I first started using DaVinci, I would just use random node structures that I would just make off the top of my head and do them for every single video. And I didn't know that you can save PowerGrades and basically paste, your previous node structures onto new videos. So I found this node structure on YouTube a couple months back, saved it as a PowerGrade, and I've used it ever since. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it. So first thing you want to do is add your nodes. So on Mac, it's going to be Option S. I'm going to add 4 of those. Pull them down. Organization is key. Then you're going to hit Option S one more time. I like to pull it up, and then you're going to hit Option P. It's going to make some parallel nodes. And then you're going to hit Option S again. Pull it up. Option S one more time. Option P for a parallel node. And then you're going to hit Option S 2 times. And that's going to be the structure that I've been rocking with for a couple months now, and I love it. So we'll go into labeling these guys now. First one's going to be exposure. Second one will be white balance. Fourth one, saturation. Fourth one, contrast. Then we'll go into these guys up here. Do our glow node. I always like to add some glow to my videos. This video particular, I had the Polar Pro VND mist filter on, so it is a little misty, but I always like to add a little bit of glow to all my videos, even if it's just like the slightest bit. So that's why I have that in there. Then we'll do a temp node, and this is what I like to use once I've corrected my white balance and got it like right in the middle of my vector scope. Then I'll use this node to add some warmness or add some coolness, just basically on the vibe of the video. I just like, if it's a cooler vibe, I'll cool it down. If it's warmer vibe, warm it up. And that's what I use this node for. And then we'll add curves. This is what I use to fix skin tones. If there's a color I don't want in a video, like sometimes I'll shoot at the shop and it's like super blue in one area and I want to tone it down, I'll grab that blue, drag it down. That's what I use this node for. This node is my tweaks node. I really don't use this node too much, but it's just there to make any final adjustments before I do my masking, which is going to be these two nodes. Masking in DaVinci is game changer compared to Premiere. I absolutely love it. So I normally do masks. If I'm shooting like a car or something, I'll always do masks, but 2 is usually the sweet spot that I feel like. Always have 2 nodes just to mask if I need to. Then we'll do a color space transform node. This is where you're going to convert to Rec 709, and then my LUT node. And that is the node structure that I run with. Every single video that I color grade has this node structure. And there's just some things that you're gonna wanna tweak in this node structure before you save it that I like to use for every single video. So these are like settings that never really change. They're always there for my videos. First one will be saturation. I always pull this up to 7. That's like the minimum I'll pull it up to. And if I want it more saturated, I'll just pull it up from there. And then the detail, this just adds a lot more detail. I like that at like 12. So that's always the same. And then my glow effect, we'll add that. And then I'll usually just pull it up. So the higher the number, the less glow there is. And I'll just crank it up to begin with. And then once I'm all graded, I'll adjust it from there. And then the last one's going to be your color space transform, which is going to convert from Rec 709 or S-Log to Rec 709. So I shot in S-Gamut 3 Cine, Rec 709, and then Rec 709. So after those adjustments, that's pretty much ready to be saved. So this is the part that I never knew you could do. So you go into your clip, right click, grab still, then you're gonna wanna go to your gallery, your stills, grab still, drag that into your PowerGrade, and now you have this node structure saved to use for any video you'd like. So if we went into this clip here, we could just grab this PowerGrade and drag it in, and now we have the same node structure for every single clip, which is very, very helpful. You don't have to go through and build the same structure every single time. So that is awesome. So now that the structure is all built, we'll get into the fun part, which is going to be grading this. The first thing that I always do is implement the LUT. I've created a couple that I really like. I have like a warmer one, a cool one, like a neutral looking one, then I have like a greenish, like Batman-ish vibe LUT. For this specific video, I'm going for like a summer, like warmer vibe. So we'll use my Shine Vibes warm LUT. After you put the LUT on, what you're gonna wanna do is go to key output and drag that down to about 0.350. That's like the sweet spot I felt works the best with LUTs, especially these ones. So as you can see, very subtle difference, adds a little bit of contrast, warms it up a little bit. After the LUTs all dialed in on there, I'll start with contrast. So I knock out all my contrast in the S-curve. I feel I get the best results doing that. What you're gonna wanna do is add a point at the very beginning of your curve, add one in the middle, and then add one at the end. You're gonna grab your first point, drag it down. This is really gonna affect your blacks in your clip. So as you can see, that's the difference. I always hold my fingers on Command D. What that's gonna do is disable the node that you're on, and it'll show you the exact adjustments you just made. So drag the middle point down. That looks good. And then I'll drag this last point up a tad. So as you can see, contrast looks great. After that, I'll go into my white balance. What you're gonna wanna do is open your vector scope in your waveforms tab. And I always use the gain wheel. And the goal is to get your vector scope right in the middle of like all the colors. That's gonna give you this most solid white balance. So we'll go through, get this dialed in. It's kind of pink. So that looks pretty solid to me. There's a lot of orange just because, you know, the trees and stuff, so you have some spake there, but really just try to get this in the middle of the vector scope and just take a look at your whites. Once you feel it's in a dialed in spot and that seems like right in the middle, then you're dialed in. That's the way I like to do it. I've done it a lot of ways and I feel like this is the best way to get great white balance for me personally. So after I get my white balance good, I'll go to my temp, and this is where I'll add either some coolness or some warmness based on the video vibe that I'm going for. In this case, going for a warmer vibe. So I'll just add some warmth. Hit Command D, see the little subtle difference? I like that. So we'll move on to my exposure node. Something I personally do is I always have my lift and my gamma negative. That's just something I've always done, and I like the look of it. Lift is going to be your blacks, gamma is going to be your midtones, gain is going to be your highlights, and then offset is going to be like the entire picture, so essentially like your exposure. So I'll go through, get my lift, usually like this at like negative 0.02. Same thing with my midtones, which is gamma. Like my highlights around 1.06, 1.05, just depending on how bright the shot is, and then I'll add some exposure to properly expose the clip. So very subtle, but makes a big difference in the end. It's all these little tweaks that get you a really good grade at the end of the day. So I like that. I think it's exposed pretty good. Then we'll go into my glow tab, and this is where I'll add some glow. But like I said, I used a mist filter, so it's already like pretty glowy and misty, so I'm not gonna add anything crazy. Probably just add some to the nose of this boat right here. Like the look of that. And then for masking, especially if you guys are shooting vehicles, what I always like to do is add a mask beneath the vehicle just to aim the focus towards, you know, what you're shooting, which in this case is going to be this boat. So open up my mask tab. Grab the gradient mask. So this arrow is going to be where it starts to feather out, and then beneath this line is where your main adjustments are going to be. Then what I'll do is just bring my offset down. Probably a little bit too much. Bring that down just a tad. As you can see, very subtle, but brings the focus into the boat, which is the thing we're shooting. That's what we want the focus to be on. So like the look of that. And then in this certain shoe, I have a lot of colors and I kind of want it to pop a little bit more. So I'll crank this up to like 10. And that looks very, very good to me. So that clip is color graded. That's how I do it. If you wanted to, you could, you know, if you had like too much orange, you didn't want as much orange in there, like these trees were too bright, or you wanted to bring up the greens, what you could do is go to your curves, go to hue versus saturation. If I wanted to bring out these greens, click on that, let's bring them up. So as you can see, saturated all the trees. That looks pretty cool, so we'll actually just leave that. But that's how you'd do that, and let's say you wanted the water not saturated, you click the water, bring it down, it's gonna unsaturate the water. So that's exactly how you do that. So now that this clip is all graded, we'll jump into another clip. We'll drag and drop. Another thing that I'll do is, if I've edited the first clip of the video, I found the LUT that I want, adjusted that, I'll save that as a PowerGrade and then just drop that into all my clips rather than dropping a PowerGrade and having to implement the LUT every time. So you just add your LUT, warm, go to your key output, 350. So after the LUT's gone, start with your contrast, boom, boom, boom. Drag your first point down, looks good. Drag your middle point down, drag your last point down. Once that's done, you'll mess with your white balance. This white balance looks pretty good to me to start out. It is a little cool, maybe a little purple and the white on the Supra. But we'll just pull it down a little bit to the greens. That looks pretty solid. It's not really much of an adjustment, but sometimes your white balance is dialed and sometimes it's not. But we'll go through to our temp node and add some warmth just because that's the vibe we're going for. 100 seems to be the sweet spot. We'll go to our exposure. Dummy down the lift, dummy down the midtones, add some highlights, add some exposure, maybe bring down the lift a little bit more exposure. That looks pretty good to me. I'll go through, add a little bit more saturation. Good. Go to my glow, add a little bit of glow. It's mainly focused on like this part here. So that looks good. I'll leave that. And then with masking, I'm not going to mask anything in this clip. There's nothing really to mask. So sometimes you mask, sometimes you don't. In this clip, that's pretty much graded. So like once you get the node structure good and saved for your video with the LUT and everything, like it's really super quick on color grading. Like it'll start to just pick it up super fast. So now that this clip is all wrapped up, we will jump into one last clip to color grade. 3rd time's the charm. So we'll go through our PowerGrade, throw that in there, start off with our contrast, beginning, middle, end, drag your first point down. Looks good. Drop my middle point down. That looks good. Drop this up. Looks good. White balance. Shot is a little warm, a little too warm before we go and adjust that. So we'll just pull it down. That seems really good. It's like a base white balance. Go through on our temp, add a little bit of warmth. At about 80, that looks good. Go to with our exposure. Highlights. And add some exposure. So that looks good to me. You can go through and adjust the glow. It's really gonna be on the nose of the boat again. That looks good. I'm not gonna go through and add any mask on the bottom here just because it's pretty dark right there already. But something that I always like to do, if I have like a non-blown out sky, I'll go through on my mask, get you a linear mask, pull it up, grab your point, drag it onto the sky, feather it out. Then I'll go through and just add some color. And then add some detail, especially if there's a bunch of clouds, like that's just gonna really bring out the detail in the clouds. But for this video, I didn't mask the sky just because I want the main focus to be the boat. But if I had like a super cloudy sky and it wasn't blown out, I'll saturate it, add some detail, and it just looks much better. And then you could, feather it out into these trees just so it's not such a hard cutoff where it's super saturated and it's not. But for this video, we're not gonna run that. But that is pretty much my color grading tutorial. That is exactly how I color grade all my videos. I kind of get like a base feel in my first clip that I film, save that as a PowerGrade, and then just start rolling all my clips. As I said, I'm no media professional. I've been doing this for a year, kind of just taught myself it, and I've developed a little passion for media stuff. It's been a blast filming for Shine Supply and, display what we do here. It's an awesome, opportunity. I love my job, and it's pretty cool to have people, want to learn from me because, just over a year ago, I was on YouTube and asking people how to do this stuff. So it's pretty cool feeling to have people now ask me. But if you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm always happy to help. If you want any more tutorials on some of the stuff I do, I'd love to keep these rolling. But until then, we will see you guys next time. I appreciate you guys watching. Peace.